Dave Bird is a suburban neurotic man in his late 20s who is convinced he is destined to be the greatest rapper of all time. Known by his fans and in the rap community as Lil Dicky, the new FX series, Dave, follows the rapper as he tries to convince his family, friends, and anyone else who will listen that his efforts to follow his destiny are not unfounded. I'm Ronald Young Jr., and I'm on the couch. All right, this is Ronald, and I am on the couch after watching Dave's show on FX. You can watch it on Hulu, created by Lil Dicky and Jeff Schafer, starring Lil Dicky, Taylor Misiak, GaTa, Andrew Santino, Travis Bennett, and Christine Coe. So Dave is a show about rapper Lil Dicky, which you may have seen him floating around the internet. He has done a lot of things that have gone viral, a lot of songs that have gone viral. I should have wrote this down, but now I'm not remembering any of them by name. But you've seen him do a lot of freestyles. He's a very good, very skilled rapper. A lot of people look at him as a parody rapper, but he's actually just technically skilled. He's a very good rapper. It's hard to deny that. And the show follows him as he seeks success being a rapper in the industry, essentially. So it's kind of a standard guy following his dream type story, except in the way that he tells the story, there's a remarkable amount of self-awareness that comes with this story. So Dave is surrounded by his team, including his best friend, his girlfriend's friend, who then becomes his graphic designer, as well as new friend GaTa, who he meets in the first episode, and his childhood friend Els, who is also his DJ as well as his engineer. So, starting off this show, I kind of thought, I'm like, okay, this is going to be like this guy gets into hijinks and things with his group of friends. It's on FX, the same network as Atlanta, which features the Donald Glover, which is the rap show about Donald Glover trying to help his friend make it as a rapper. So while that one has a lot more surrealism, this one is grounded in reality, and it follows rapper Dave as he's attempting to get into his dream. So not really many hijinks here, except for the hijinks that ensue as he's actually trying to get work done, meaning that sometimes it's him trying to get somebody to be on a song with him and having to go through the hoops that it takes in order to, pay somebody to appear on the song, and what that means when he's in the studio with people that, he doesn't necessarily know, or from neighborhoods that he doesn't know. And it also is him stumbling through dealing with, being a white guy and a Jewish guy specifically, who is, not dabbling, but fully steeped in Black culture and dealing with Blackness as well. Now, early on in the episode, I didn't know how this was going to handle things like that, him being a white guy. But about the first 4 episodes, you're watching it, you're like, this is enjoyable. It's kind of funny seeing him, be neurotic and interact with the world. All of that is entertaining to watch. But then when it gets to episode 5, it kind of takes a turn for where I saw it being just a pedestrian show to being just a fantastic show. And I've rewatched several of these episodes more than once, and I've gone back and kind of put together that this is a show with unexpected depth you don't expect a show about a rapper, any rapper at all, especially a parody rapper. And I don't think he's a parody. I wouldn't consider him to be a parody rapper, but we'll use air quotes, a parody rapper, to have the type of emotional depth that this show does. In episode 5, it deals with mental illness of one of his side characters, and I'll call him a side character, but it's his hype man GaTa, and I won't say too much about that, but it deals with his journey through mental illness in a way that's very, very generous of Dave. And when I say that, I mean, like, rarely do you see someone who has an eponymous show that steps aside to let somebody else tell their story. And in this episode, he does exactly that. And I was blown away. And when you get to, there's a part, I've watched the episode probably about 6 times, and every single time at the same part, I tear up every single time. And it's just the way they strike this emotional chord is just, it's expertly done. And I'm not even sure if that's the one that Lil Dicky directed himself. He is the showrunner for the show, or I believe he is. So I'm not sure if that's the one he directed himself, but in terms of emotional depth, just rings the bell completely. And while you sympathize with him and you're rooting for him throughout the shows, it's just these poignant moments, I think, that make this show not just good, but great. Episode 9, is about his relationship with his girlfriend. And he starts it off with a song. And I don't want to say too much. I feel like I want to talk more about this, and maybe after some of you guys watch it, we can talk about it later. But he starts it with the song, and then the episode happens. And then what he does late in that episode is so emotionally resonant. It's just hard to watch it without tearing up, without feeling something. Even as soon as you hear the chords of the song come on, you're just like, something different is happening here. And it's just expert use of music in this episode. But again, to show such emotional depth in this show, it's just, I mean, amazing. And the show is funny. It's funny. I laugh out loud probably at every single episode. Every episode has something funny to say, has a joke to tell you, has, some sort of a funny anecdote, either including him or that he's stating, every single episode. And so with all of that, all of the laughing that we're doing, it's just crazy that they're able to put this type of emotional depth in there without feeling like it's being shoehorned in or like it's forced in a way that doesn't feel authentic. It feels like they really took their time in planting the seeds of this show. And I feel like it's again, I love a show that's self-aware, and this is a show that's very aware of what it is and where it fits into the cultural landscape at this time. There's 10 episodes. They're all on Hulu. This is not a show to watch with kids, and this show is not for everybody. Everybody's not going to love this show. I think there's a lot of jokes. It starts with a joke, and it starts with kind of a graphic description of a disability or an impediment, if you will, that Lil Dicky suffers from, which you'll see, and it actually takes up a bulk of the show, and it's done in a way that sometimes is serious and sometimes is set up as a joke. So, and it's definitely not for children. But I think, if you can get through those portions, you should be fine. And I don't think, I was watching the show, they didn't really take away that much from me for watching the rest of the show. I think I was able to look at it as a portion of the show, but not what the show was about. But I think if some people get stuck at those portions, I understand. And if they can't move past them, I also understand. But that being said, I mean, great show. It's a good show for couples, good show for single folks, not a family show, but definitely something that you can enjoy. And, Lil Dicky has done a good job of interacting with people, because this show came out right at the beginning of quarantine. And so, a matter of fact, I think it came out within a few weeks of quarantine. So it's basically been a show that we've all been able to sit still and watch as it came out in real time. During the time we were in quarantine, it got renewed for a second season, and it's been rated as the top rated show on FX, which it beat out Atlanta, which everybody loved. So I think this show is, I think it's destined for greatness. I'm interested to see where they go in season 2. I'm actually a little apprehensive about where they go with season 2. I don't know what types of stories they'll be telling in season 2. If this were a limited season and episode 10 was the last one, I would be satisfied with that ending. I would only miss it because every time the show comes on, it's just enjoyable to watch. You're watching it, you feel good, you like watching his journeys, and you're just curious about what's going to happen next, who he's going to interact with, who's going to come into the room, all that. You're just curious about what types of things he's going to make you think about. Great show. And the rapping. I think he raps twice, like himself. I mean, he references his songs and he plays his songs in other portions of the season, but 2 specific times he raps and, of course, just, blows it out of the water. I think it's just easy to listen to this and immediately start bobbing your head as he starts rapping. So, I think it's great. I'd give it 4 or 5 stars. Kind of, I realize that since I'm not in the theater, I don't have an opportunity to watch everything. So right now I'm really reviewing things that I just feel like I want to talk about, and they all tend to be good. So it's tougher to find stuff that I just really just flat out don't like right now. But 4 of 5 stars. Do not bring your kids. I would not bring your kids to this one. This is for when they go to bed. And I believe it airs at 10 o'clock on or either 9 or 10 o'clock on FX when it does come on. But right now, all 10 episodes are on Hulu, so check that out when you get a chance. And with that, Leaving the Theater is a production of ohitsBigRon Studios. Theme music by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. To find out more about this show and other ohitsBigRon Studio shows, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ohitsBigRon. That's at ohitsBigron. If you like this show, check out our sister show, Time Well Spent. Leaving the Theater will be back soon, but until then, I'll be here on the couch.